Aloha, I am June Jones of the Houston Roughnecks, and this is the XFL show.
If you smell what the XFL is cooking.
Welcome, football fans. This is For the Love of Football. This is the road to 2023, and this is the XFL show. I'm Alan.
Aloha, and I'm Bryant.
We may have the next Tommy Maddox on our hands. This is episode 188. Taylor Gunn, Bryant? Is that what we're going to go with his nickname? Taylor Heinecke, Mr. XFL in the NFL now for 2021?
Taylor XFL made?
Oh, I know what you're trying to do there. I
like
don't.
Taylor
Yeah,
made,
I know. I don't
Taylor
like it.
XFL
I don't know
made.
about that. We'll work on it maybe by the end of the show. It is a super fast express special for you. Bryant is in Hawaii, as you can tell if you're watching on YouTube. I am in a nook somewhere in Pennsylvania, and we don't have a whole lot of time on our hands, but good thing there isn't a whole lot of new news to get into, but a lot of fun to have, Bryant. So what do you say we get right into it? 724-565-4XFL is the number for you to call or leave a voicemail. And of course, at XFL Show on Twitter. If you want to hit us up on social media, DMs are open. And this week we are brought to you by Pretty Easy Podcasts. You could go to prettyeasypodcast.com to get your own podcast started today with your own producer at a very affordable rate. If you know someone who's been looking to start a podcast but needs a little help, go to prettyeasypodcast.com because I hear they're not too shabby to work with.
Yeah, and they make podcasting pretty easy and relaxing. Yeah.
Very relaxing for you today. I'm sweating my keister off, so full disclosure, Bryant's just like living it up in Hawaii. I didn't even realize he was in Hawaii. I mean, he texted me, or what time are we doing this? 6 p.m. Hawaiian time workout. And I thought he's just joking because we always talk like that. What, 6 p.m. Pittsburgh time, 6 p.m. Miami time?
I told you I was going to be in Hawaii last week.
No,
I
never told me that. On the show?
I said, after the show ended, I said, Alan, no, but after the show closed, I said, Alan, Friday has to be 6. I will be in Hawaii.
So now I think you should learn this lesson this week then, that I only retain information that's spoken on the show. Anything that's not between the bell of the show, I can't remember. So that's my apologies, though, good buddy. I hope you're enjoying Hawaii. I left the middle of putting together my aunt's 50th birthday party together, sweating, and now I got like a moment, and I got to get back. So let's rock and roll. We got life in between the road to XFL 2023, but we weren't going to go a week without, giving you a show. So here we go. Let's dink and dunk. First off, a question we got all around social media in the past week, Bryant, that I was surprised. Multiple people asking, do we have merch?
I thought we had merch at one point a few years ago when we were doing the Patreon. We had some merch there but maybe we'll. I just feel like we should do gimmick T-shirts. One that say like go for 3. Just things that are just very gimmicky to the XFL.
I'd be in, and you know what? And my wife's getting pretty adept at doing the tie dye. So we could tie-dye him up, too, for people.
She's going to hand tie-dye every T-shirt?
As well. Every T-shirt custom-made for our listeners, if we ever do merch. But right now, we don't have time. I'm traveling everywhere. Bryant's too busy relaxing in Hawaii, but maybe if the demand is there, we'll do merch. Thanks for hitting us.
My burger is over there.
Go get one.
Tasty burger.
And we'll get done with the show here shortly, Bryant. Let's get into it, though. Thanks for hitting us up, though. We had a couple people ask us at XFL Show on the YouTube comments as well about merch. And then, of course, stemming back to last week. Yeah, and then last week's show talking about laces and stripes and a whole lot of Ray Finkel jokes. So we don't need to get into all those comments, but we appreciate you listening and watching last week. What do you say we speed this along, though, Bryant, and get into this week's Cover 2? People familiar with the matter, they say, Bryant, was the phrasing this week when talking about Redbird Capital's latest entry into their portfolio, which could be LeBron James's Spring Hill Company, which is an entertainment company that was responsible for this year's Space Jam, among other TV, scripted and unscripted TV properties. This was reported by Sportico, but a big investment by Redbird. This valuation is at $650 million to $750 million for LeBron James's Spring Hill Company. So LeBron's name now being invoked when it comes to one of the XFL's ownership partners. This is pretty exciting to me. I mean, this is if LeBron James is not too far off, that means your brand is pretty much front and center. If they can at all, like we talked about last week, figure out a way to channel that property, the XFL, and get it to rub elbows and get that support from other entries in their portfolio, such as LeBron James and his companies, Spring Hill, that would be huge.
Yeah, if you go back 2 weeks, I think it was, because last week Vince was on the show, and we don't talk business-related issues when Vince is on the show. So I think that was about 2 weeks ago where we were talking about all the different hands that Redbird Capital has. They're in the cookie jar, right? So it's the Red Sox. It's just so many different things, and now possibly LeBron James. I mean, this is great news for Liverpool. Redbird continues to grow that portfolio, continues to spend money, continues to do so many things that the XFL really can hopefully benefit from. To me, it just shows signs of this investment firm doing that, investing in things to make money. I think that's a good sign for the XFL. Hopefully this LeBron James thing kicks off. My daughter's favorite book is a LeBron James book right now. So I think this is all good investments for Redbird Capital. Yeah, it's called I Promise, by the way. It's a great book.
Oh, nice. I'll have to check that out, and I'll also have to look at more of the Spring Hill catalog. I didn't see Space Jam yet, and also it looks like they have an Adam Sandler movie coming up, and also a new take on House Party, which I'm excited to see. So LeBron James's group is making waves in entertainment, and now you see Redbird making an investment in that. They're getting into that space. That means that they have access to LeBron James's brand in some form or fashion. Only good news, I think, for the XFL, because that's what this is all about: branding and marketing and being able. I mean, we could very well see that makes sense then if this ends up happening. Just think about it: The Rock and LeBron James collaborating in some sort of promotion for the XFL. Doesn't get any bigger than that. Even just having LeBron James on the TV screen saying, "Hey, this is LeBron James, and I watch the XFL." That goes a long way. That's all you would need him to do, maybe on a TV promo.
Space Jam versus Maui and the Demigods.
Now you're talking about specifically for the youngsters out there. Your daughter is going to get, I think, probably the best deal out of this, Bryant, with potential movies and TV shows. But for the XFL's purpose, who knows what could happen, but it's just a good thing to know. And of course, we're always keeping an eye on what Redbird's up to, because they do own part of the XFL, and that means that whatever they own, they can utilize in making the XFL successful. So we'll keep an eye out on it, but that's the latest. Next up, after a roller coaster week 1 in the NFL, Bryant, a lot of people talking about different games and matchups. I'm just obsessed with the Manning cast. I hope that Manning cast is utilized in the XFL somehow, obviously not with Peyton and Eli, but maybe with some other football celebrities or something. I just like that idea of watching the game alongside someone who knows their stuff like the Mannings. It was really entertaining. But then you also had just the craziness on the field. Aaron Rodgers getting blown out was just fascinating to me. And of course, Monday Night Football in overtime had some people asking, what the hell's going on at the end of that game? Where was the kicker? And then we saw on Barstool, their guy Reegs was suggesting that we have a Hard Knocks during the season just because of what went down on Monday Night Football with the Raiders. And that got us thinking, maybe that's a good idea for the XFL.
Hard Knocks during the season would be interesting, because I feel like you're going to be divulging a lot of secrets, a lot of issues that people will poke fun at. all of a sudden you have turmoil between teammates, and people will put that out there, and all week it's all you'll get leading questions to, things like that. So a version of Hard Knocks, but maybe not so Hard Knocks, would be great. Maybe just following the coaches around, making the decisions. I don't know, things like that. But I think definitely some in-season entertainment other than just the sounds of the game would be pretty cool to watch. And you got to be careful what you broadcast on those types of things. But it would be a great show. I think there's some other ideas too that would be great.
I think that would be really dangerous. You could expose some things that you wouldn't want to expose to. So I'm not jumping right on that bandwagon. I'm partial to like a inside the NFL style show where it's a week in review. It's controlled by the league, what message they're getting out there, what they're exposing. But also something to play into would be the honesty of the game. And The Rock has done that with Ballers in the past, so I could see the XFL doing it. But I don't know if I'd be for that, because that's the stuff that goes on a football field sideline. I mean, it's not for the faint at heart a lot of the time.
Yeah, we were down there a few times during the regular season for the XFL, and it wasn't, it was quite entertaining from my perspective. But I don't know if you want all that broadcast. I think there's possibilities to give you entertainment through the week that isn't just the review of games. Get yourself some footage, some sound bites, something that gives you, because that was a problem with the XFL in 2020, is that in 2020 is that you would have a game on Saturday, a game on Sunday, and then nothing for the rest of the week. There's got to be filler in that week, and it can't just be on YouTube. It just can't be on Twitter. Got to have somewhere and have it be exciting and something that people want to tune into every Tuesday, every Wednesday, whether it be a review or some sort of insight to, hey, what the Seattle Dragons do this week, what's up with whoever, and I think that'll be a winning feature for the XFL.
Either way, I think the XFL could do something like that. The NFL will never do anything like that, I think, unless it's shorter and way more controlled. It's a hectic thing, that Hard Knocks show, and they take a lot of time to edit it, I think. The turnaround of an in-season deal, no way for the NFL. For the XFL, though, maybe they want to touch on that, but I would advise no. I'm more conservative that way, Brian. But for this show, I'm all about that quick turnaround and pushing the pace. That's what we do.
Play fast, do it again.
All right, Hal Mummy, let's take it to this week's hot read. Former Battlehawks backup and current QB2 for the Washington football team, Taylor Heinecke, got his first W in the NFL this week, Bryant. And the man almost beat Tom Brady in the playoffs last year. Now he's got that win under his belt. Teammates putting him on their shoulders, and he's becoming a meme. Is he the next Tommy Maddox, though? Is he the next Mr. XFL in the NFL?
You know what? I thought about this when you asked me the question earlier, because I was thinking to myself, what made Tommy Maddox Tommy Maddox? Was it that was he because he was the star of the extreme? Was it because he was the MVP? Or was it his success with the Steelers and that he even won a Super Bowl ring with when he made it to the NFL? And I think, to me, if we're talking about the next Tommy Maddox, I guess you could follow along those lines. I feel like there's other players that are like Tommy Maddox that played somewhere else. You have your Kurt Warner or whatever that played somewhere else and were successful in the NFL. To me, if you're talking about the true who is the next Tommy Maddox, who is the next great player in the XFL that made it into the NFL, I don't know if Heinecke really falls into that category because he never really played. I don't think he played at all, honestly. I'm checking that right now. But I don't think he had any registered stats as a quarterback last year.
No, in the XFL, yeah, you're talking. No, he did not. And then Tommy Maddox was the XFL MVP. So if we're going to crown someone that, it's going to be P.J. Walker, I would say, if he ever gets on the field for Carolina. But Taylor Heinecke right now, we're saying, represents the XFL, and he's doing it well. So we appreciate that. But I'm going to side with you too, Brian. I would never call him the next Tommy Maddox. I'm not going to call it Taylor Gunn. Even if he goes on for playoff appearances, he becomes a regular starting quarterback for at least a few years like Tommy did, I don't put him in that same category because Tommy Maddox was the man in the XFL. Taylor Heinecke is a journeyman through the XFL, and it's an even more insane story, actually, because he didn't play in the XFL. But it also is maybe more testament to the XFL and how much good it can do for a career. You didn't even have to play in the XFL, just have a roster spot to make it to the NFL and get a chance like Taylor Heinecke.
Yeah, Taylor Heinecke wasn't even the best Taylor in the XFL when it came to quarterbacks, because Taylor Cornelius,
and he's starting as we speak. Brian, I'm missing his first start right now for the Elks in the CFL. He's getting to play for Jamie Elizondo. I'm going to be watching that on demand later.
To me, yes, there's promise there, and I wish him the best of luck. But to be the next Tommy Maddox, as we see it as XFL fans, I don't see it there. But hey, man, could it be a non-quarterback? Could it be a Parham? Could it be a Storm Norton? Could it be those players that are actually playing to be the next Tommy Maddox?
Yeah, those guys who actually had a lot of playing time in the XFL, maybe you could say that, but also the quarterback position is that spot. PJ Walker's primed for it. It's going to take, Sam Darnold, though, falling off big time or getting injured for us to have the next Tommy Maddox. To me, there's only one.
That's another thing you got to look at. Well, as a quarterback, you talk about PJ Walker and even Jordan Ta'amu. They went to places who had established quarterbacks going into last year, right? You had, you obviously have Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Don't know why you would want to go there. Maybe learn from him, but still, maybe they're the other ones that offered you a contract. To me, it's not a great move. In Carolina, they had just traded or signed Teddy Bridgewater, right? That's what it was. And why would you go there? Just you're going to be a backup. You're not going to start. So to me, it's all about the opportunity. Taylor Heinecke got the best opportunity because he landed in Washington, where they just kicked out their the draft pick. They had no one really else behind them. Alex Smith retired. Now look at that opportunity. He's getting it. If PJ Walker had this opportunity, we might be saying a different story. If Jordan Ta'amu had that opportunity, we'd probably be saying a different story. But Taylor Heinecke is the one who gets that opportunity now.
And there's also only one Tommy Maddox. I don't think there'll ever be another, and I don't want to grade anyone according to Tommy Gunn. There's only one and only. There are other good, talented players, though, and we'll be talking about them as XFL legends, I believe, in the distant future. But for now, they're balling. We'll see if PJ gets on the field. Taylor Heinecke representing right now. I wonder how Battlehawks fans feel about that, too. I mean, if he would have played, would they have been undefeated? I don't know. Jordan Ta'amu wasn't too bad in the XFL, but
it was the only game that Jordan Ta'amu didn't really perform was that one against DC, where they only scored 6 points.
And he lost to a tight end who was playing quarterback too. So there's that.
Well, I mean, the quarterback didn't throw the ball; he ran a lot.
That's true.
So, I mean, there's that too. I don't know, Alan. I mean, look, I'm on vacation. You're traveling. This was a short week, but it's a short episode this week. But it's still a time to kind of reflect on the fact that the XFL is going to kick off at some point. We're not going to be able to do these short shows. And there are great players. You just got to give them opportunities. Taylor Heinecke, not a great player. That's why we do this. That's why I'm on vacation, carving out the time to do this. That's why you're at your aunt's 50th birthday party doing the same thing. Because there is promise here. There is a chance. And that's why we do these things. Because of players like Taylor Heinecke.
Yeah, exactly. And also, we're going to enjoy this while it lasts, these short shows, because they're not going to be happening like you said. And, we had to at least get on to give props to him, though, because people at least talking XFL this week just because of what he did, beating the Giants. And we'll see where he goes from here throughout the season. And if more of that rolls into, man, the XFL really, did they miss the boat on him, or did they give him the opportunity? There's a lot of that conversation going on, too. But we'll leave it there for now, see how he does the rest of the season in Washington. Let us know what you think, though, at XFL Show. Is Taylor Heinecke the next Tommy Maddox? Yes, Bryant.
Well, I was just going to say, it's because they knew Jordan Ta'amu was going to go to the NFL. Taylor Heinecke was the promising young quarterback behind him that was going to start next season. They just didn't get that opportunity. It's all good. But either way, yes, this week's short, so we're going to go right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, follow us. Or sorry, you can watch us every single week here, right here on your favorite podcast app, Apple Podcasts. What is it? Spotify, TuneIn, wherever you get your podcast. The only and the very first official XFL podcast. Make sure you give us that 5-star review and tell your friends about us. If you got a comment, question, or concern, we'll go ahead and don't have any concerns. Comment or question or a topic you want us to cover, will then go to the XFL Fan Line 724-565-4XFL. 4XFL. Remember, standard text messaging rates do apply. Also follow us on all social media platforms at XFL Show. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I know Alan doesn't like it, and maybe one day TikTok. And then what's the last one? Oh yeah, follow us and come and say hi to us every single week right here on YouTube at XFL.show, the official YouTube channel of This is the XFL. Official website, actually, I should say. And don't forget about our sponsors, Pretty Easy Podcast. Go to prettyeasypodcast.com and get started today because they make podcasting relaxing and pretty easy.
Man, too much fresh air. You almost forgot your spiel there at the end. Go get some, though. Enjoy it. It sounds fun there. I'm about to go grind on some charcuterie and see if we almost pushed this later, and I planned on getting on the mezcal tonight, and who knows what kind of show it would have been then. So I'm glad we got it done, Bryant, when we could. But let's leave it at that. We'll be back next week to discuss Taylor Heinecke's PFF grade, probably. We didn't get into that. That'll come out Monday. I can't wait to see that. And, of course, any more details that come out about the LeBron James Spring Hill Co. with Redbird and, of course, the XFL in general. You know the place to get all the news you need to know about the XFL on this road to 2023, the original, official XFL podcast. For Bryant in Hawaii, I'm Alan. This is the XFL Show. Remember, they're listening.